The rain fell softly against the window, a quiet rhythm that once comforted her. But not today. Lily Chen stood in the living room, staring at the familiar space that had once been her entire world. The soft grey couch. The untouched dinner on the table. The clock ticking too loudly in the silence. Everything was the same. And yet, everything was different. Because she remembered. In her last life, this was the night everything ended. She remembered how her hands trembled as Ethan Shu walked in, his expression cold, his suit still crisp from work. He didn't look at her. Not even once. He had simply placed a set of papers on the table. Divorce papers. Her heart had shattered in that moment. She had cried, begged, asked him what she had done wrong. She had promised to change, to be better, to try harder. But Ethan had only said one thing. This marriage was a mistake. Lily's fingers curled tightly now. A mistake. The words still hurt, but they no longer broke her. Because this time, she had woken up before it happened. That morning, she had opened her eyes in shock. The sunlight, the familiar ceiling, the faint smell of jasmine from the window. For a long moment, she thought she was dreaming. Until she saw the date. Exactly 1 year before her death. Exactly 1 year before the divorce. At first, she had panicked. Then cried. Then laughed. A second chance. Not to fix him. But to fix herself. The sound of a car pulling into the driveway snapped her back to reality. Ethan was home. Her heart skipped, but this time, not from fear. From clarity. The door opened. Ethan Shu stepped inside, removing his coat with practiced ease. Tall, composed, distant, just like she remembered. His eyes landed on her briefly, then moved away. "Why are you still awake?" he asked flatly. In the past, she would have smiled nervously, rushed to take his coat, asked if he had eaten. Tonight, she didn't move. "I was waiting," Lily said calmly. That made him pause. Something in her tone was different. Ethan walked toward the table, loosening his tie slightly. His gaze finally settled on her properly. She looked the same. But not really. There was no anxious smile. No careful expression trying to please him. Just quiet stillness. "I have something to discuss," Ethan said. "Of course you do," Lily thought. She almost smiled. But before he could continue, she stepped forward and placed a set of papers on the table. The sound was soft, but it felt like thunder. Ethan frowned slightly. "What is this?" Lily met his eyes. For the first time in both her lives, she didn't feel small under his gaze. "Divorce papers," she said. Silence. Ethan didn't move. Didn't speak. For a brief second, something unreadable flickered in his eyes. That wasn't how this was supposed to go. He started, then stopped. Lily continued calmly, "I've already signed them." Her voice was steady. No trembling. No hesitation. "Take a look. If there's anything you want to change, we can discuss it." Ethan stared at her as if seeing her for the first time. This woman was not the Lily he knew. In his memory, Lily was always soft, gentle, careful with every word. She would never initiate something like this. Never. "Is this a joke?" he asked, his voice colder now. Lily shook her head. "No." The rain grew heavier outside. Ethan picked up the papers slowly, flipping through them. Everything was clear. Organized. Fair. Too fair. She wasn't trying to take anything from him. She was simply leaving. "Why?" he asked suddenly. The question caught her off guard. In her last life, he had never asked why. Lily looked at him quietly. There were so many answers. Too many. But in the end, she chose the simplest one. "I'm tired," she said. Ethan's grip tightened slightly on the papers. "Tired?" Lily nodded. "Tired of waiting. Tired of trying. Tired of being the only one in this marriage." Her voice didn't rise. That made it hurt more. Ethan frowned. Something about her words felt uncomfortable. "You agreed to this marriage," he said. "And I don't regret that," Lily replied softly. She paused. "But I regret losing myself in it." Silence filled the room again. For the first time, Ethan didn't know what to say. Lily stepped back. "You can sign it whenever you're ready," she said. "I'll move out tomorrow." Tomorrow. So soon. Ethan's chest felt strangely tight. But he didn't stop her. Didn't ask her to stay. Didn't say anything at all. Because that was who he had always been. Lily turned and walked toward the bedroom. Each step felt lighter. Not because it didn't hurt, but because she finally knew. She would never beg again. Behind her, Ethan remained standing in the living room. The divorce papers still in his hand. He had planned this moment for a long time. Thought it would feel like relief. Freedom. Control. So why? Did it feel like something had just slipped out of his grasp? His eyes drifted toward the hallway where Lily had disappeared. For the first time, Ethan Shu felt something unfamiliar. Uncertainty. Morning light slipped quietly through the curtains. Lily Chen stood in the bedroom one last time. The room looked exactly as it always had, neat, quiet, untouched by warmth. Even after years of marriage, it never truly felt like home. She closed her suitcase slowly. In her last life, this moment had been filled with tears. She had packed while crying, hoping Ethan would stop her. Hoping he would say something, anything, to make her stay. But he never did. This time, her hands were steady. No tears. Only a strange sense of calm. She glanced around the room once more. Then turned away. When Lily stepped into the living room, Ethan Shu was already there. He hadn't gone to work. That, in itself, was unusual. He stood near the window, his back straight, the signed divorce papers resting on the table beside him. He had signed them. Lily's gaze lingered on the papers for only a second. No pain. Just closure. "I'll have someone transfer your share," Ethan said without turning around. His tone was calm. Controlled. As if discussing business. Lily adjusted her bag slightly. "That won't be necessary." Ethan frowned and turned. "What do you mean?" "I only took what I brought into the marriage," she said simply. "I don't need anything else." That answer didn't sit right with him. In the world he understood, everything had value. Everything had a price. But Lily. She was walking away as if none of it mattered. "You're entitled to more," he said. Lily shook her head gently. "I'm choosing not to take it." Choosing. The word echoed in Ethan's mind. For years, Lily had never chosen anything for herself. Not once. Before he could respond, the front door suddenly opened. "Lily." A bright, sharp voice broke the heavy silence. Mia Chen rushed inside without waiting. She stopped abruptly when she saw Ethan. Her expression immediately hardened. "So it's true," Mia said, crossing her arms. "You finally let her go." Ethan didn't reply. Mia walked straight to Lily, grabbing her hand. "Are you okay?" she asked, her tone softening instantly. Lily smiled faintly. "I'm fine." Mia looked at her carefully. No swollen eyes. No trembling voice. No sign of heartbreak. That made her pause. "You're really okay?" Mia asked again, uncertain now. Lily nodded. "I am." Mia exhaled slowly. Then shot Ethan a sharp look. "Good. Because she deserves better than this place." Ethan's jaw tightened slightly, but he still said nothing. Just then, another voice cut in. "What is all this noise?" Grace Shu walked in, her expression already filled with displeasure. Her sharp eyes landed on the suitcase. Then on the divorce papers. Her face darkened instantly. "You're leaving?" she demanded, looking at Lily. In Lily's past life, this was the moment she would panic. Apologize. Try to explain. But not this time. "Yes," Lily answered calmly. Grace let out a cold laugh. "So you finally gave up pretending to be a good wife?" Mia stepped forward immediately. "Watch your words." "It's okay," Lily said softly, stopping her. Grace scoffed. "I knew from the beginning you weren't suitable for this family." Lily met her gaze. Steady. Unshaken. "You're right," she said. The room fell silent. Grace blinked, clearly not expecting that. "I'm not suitable for this family," Lily continued calmly. And this family isn't suitable for me either. Mia's eyes widened slightly. Then slowly, she smiled. Grace, however, looked furious. How dare you? I'm leaving, Lily said gently, cutting her off. No need to argue anymore. Her tone wasn't disrespectful, but it was final. For the first time, Grace felt something unfamiliar. She couldn't control this situation. Ethan watched everything quietly. His gaze never left Lily. This version of her was completely different. When Lily turned toward the door, Mia quickly grabbed her suitcase. I'll take you home, she said. Lily nodded. Thank you. Just as she stepped past Ethan, she paused for a brief second. Take care, she said. 2 simple words. Polite. Distant. Then she walked away. The door closed. And just like that, Lily Chen was gone. The house felt empty. Grace let out an irritated sigh. Good riddance, she muttered. She was never good enough. Ethan didn't respond. His eyes remained on the door. For some reason, her calm expression lingered in his mind. Not sadness. Not anger. Just peace. It didn't make sense. Later that day, Lily stood in a bright apartment, sunlight filling every corner. Mia placed the suitcase down and turned to her. Okay, she said firmly. Now tell me what happened. Lily smiled slightly. Nothing happened. Mia narrowed her eyes. I don't believe that for a second. Lily walked to the window, looking out at the city. I just realized something, she said softly. What? Lily's reflection in the glass looked back at her. Stronger. Clearer. Alive. I deserve more than waiting for someone who will never choose me. Mia froze. Then slowly, she grinned. Finally, she said. This is the sister I know. Lily laughed softly. For the first time in a long time. It felt real. Meanwhile, Ethan sat alone in his office. The divorce papers lay in front of him. Signed. Final. He should feel relieved. So why did the silence feel louder than ever? His mind replayed her words. I'm tired. I regret losing myself. His fingers tapped lightly on the desk. Then, without realizing it, he opened his phone. Scrolled. Paused. Her contact was still there. For a moment. He considered calling. But he didn't. Instead, he locked the screen. Leaning back in his chair. His expression unreadable. But one thought lingered. Lily Chen. Who are you now? The city lights flickered against the glass windows of Ethan Shu's office. It was late. Too late for anyone to still be working. Yet, he hadn't moved for a long time. A file lay open in front of him. But he hadn't read a single word. Instead, his thoughts kept drifting. To her. Lily Chen. It had been 3 days since the divorce. 3 days of silence. No calls. No messages. No attempts to reach him. That alone felt wrong. In their entire marriage, Lily had always been the one who spoke first. The one who tried. The one who refused to let silence grow. But now, she was gone. And the silence she left behind felt heavier than anything before. Ethan leaned back slightly, his brows tightening. Strange, he murmured under his breath. For the first time, he found himself asking a question he had never considered before. What had she been thinking all those years? Meanwhile, the soft hum of conversation filled a cozy cafe. Warm lights. Gentle music. A completely different world from the cold Shu household. Lily sat by the window, a cup of coffee in her hands. Across from her sat Daniel Wu. You seem different, Daniel said, studying her carefully. Lily smiled faintly. Is that a bad thing? Daniel shook his head. No, he said softly. It's just new. He had known Lily since they were young. Back then, she was bright. Confident. Full of ideas. But over the years, that light had faded. Until now. You look lighter, Daniel added. Lily glanced down at her cup. I let go of something heavy, she said. Daniel didn't ask what. He already knew. Instead, he smiled. Then I'm glad. There was no pressure in his words. No expectation. Just quiet support. And Lily appreciated that more than anything. At the Shue residence. You need to remarry. Grace Shue's voice cut sharply through the room. Ethan didn't look up from his laptop. No. The answer was immediate. Flat. Grace frowned. What do you mean no? That woman has already embarrassed this family enough. Ethan's fingers paused on the keyboard. That has nothing to do with remarriage, he said calmly. Grace's expression darkened. You're not thinking of going back to her, are you? Ethan finally looked up. His eyes were cold. We're divorced. Then act like it, Grace snapped. I've already spoken to the Lin family. Their daughter. I'm not interested. Grace slammed her hand lightly on the table. You don't get to refuse. The room fell silent. For a moment. Neither of them spoke. Then Ethan closed his laptop slowly. I've already signed the divorce papers, he said. Isn't that what you wanted? Grace froze. Yes. It was. So why? Did this not feel like a victory? Later that night, Ethan found himself driving without a destination. The city blurred past him. Lights. People. Noise. Until he stopped. Without realizing it, he was standing outside a cafe. Through the window, he saw her. Lily. She was laughing. Not the polite, careful smile he remembered, but something real. Something warm. And sitting across from her was another man. Ethan's gaze sharpened. Daniel Wu. He recognized him. They looked comfortable. Too comfortable. Lily leaned slightly forward as she spoke, her eyes bright. Daniel listened, his expression gentle. It was a simple scene. Nothing inappropriate. But for some reason, Ethan felt something twist in his chest. Unfamiliar. Uncomfortable. He stepped inside. The bell above the door chimed softly. Lily turned instinctively. And froze. For a brief moment. Their eyes met. Time seemed to pause. Daniel followed her gaze and looked back. His expression remained calm. But observant. Ethan walked toward them slowly. Each step measured. Controlled. Mr. Shue, Daniel greeted politely. Ethan nodded slightly. His eyes, however, remained on Lily. You seem well, he said. Lily placed her cup down gently. I am. Her tone was calm. Neutral. No hesitation. No nervousness. As if speaking to a stranger. Ethan noticed. And didn't like it. I didn't expect to see you here, he said. This is a public place, Lily replied. A simple answer. But it created distance. Daniel leaned back slightly, giving them space. But he didn't leave. Ethan's gaze flickered to him briefly. Then back to Lily. We need to talk, Ethan said. Lily tilted her head slightly. About what? The question caught him off guard. In the past, she would have agreed immediately. Now, she questioned him. Ethan's brows tightened slightly. About us. Lily looked at him quietly. There is no us anymore, she said. Her voice wasn't cold. But it was firm. Final. The cafe seemed quieter now. Ethan held her gaze. You changed, he said. Lily nodded slightly. Yes. No denial. No explanation. Just acceptance. That made it harder. Harder than if she had argued. Harder than if she had been angry. Because this calm distance, meant she had truly let go. Ethan exhaled slowly. For what it's worth, he said. I didn't expect things to end like this. Lily's lips curved into a faint smile. Neither did I. Silence followed. Then she stood. I have somewhere to be, she said gently. Daniel stood as well. Ethan didn't stop them. Didn't reach out. He simply watched. As Lily walked past him. Again. But this time. It felt different. Not like loss. But like realization. He had thought silence meant nothing. But now. He understood. Silence could mean everything. Especially when the person who once filled it chose not to anymore. The rain returned. Not gentle like before, but sharp, relentless, tapping hard against the glass windows of Lily Chen's office. "Yes, we'll finalize the design by Friday," Lily said calmly into her phone. Her tone was professional. Steady. Nothing like the woman who once hesitated over every word. She ended the call and exhaled softly. Work had become her anchor. Every meeting. Every decision. A reminder that she existed beyond being someone's wife. "You're getting scary good at this." Mia leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, a teasing smile on her face. Lily glanced up and smiled. "Is that a compliment or a warning?" "Both," Mia said, walking in. "But seriously. I'm proud of you." Lily paused slightly. Pride. It was something she hadn't heard in a long time. Before she could respond, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Lily hesitated, then answered. "Hello. Lily Chen." The voice was sharp. Cold. Familiar. "Grace Xu." Mia's expression immediately darkened. "I didn't expect you to answer," Grace continued. Lily remained calm. "What do you want?" There was a brief pause. Then, "I think it's time we had a proper conversation." 1 hour later. A high-end restaurant. Quiet. Elegant. Cold. Lily stepped inside. Her eyes immediately found Grace Xu sitting by the window. Perfect posture. Perfect composure. As always. Lily walked over and sat down. "You're late," Grace said without looking up. "I came," Lily replied simply. Grace finally looked at her. Her sharp gaze scanned Lily carefully. Something had changed. She couldn't deny it. "You seem confident," Grace said slowly. Lily didn't respond. Grace placed her teacup down gently. "I'll get straight to the point," she said. "You've been causing quite a bit of trouble." Lily raised an eyebrow slightly. "Trouble?" Grace leaned forward. "Don't pretend you don't know," she said. "People are talking." Lily's expression didn't change. "They're saying you abandoned your marriage. That you were dissatisfied. That you were ungrateful." Each word was deliberate. Sharp. In the past, Lily would have panicked. Tried to defend herself. Now, she simply listened. Grace watched her closely, waiting for a reaction. But none came. "That's all?" Lily asked calmly. Grace frowned. "You don't care about your reputation?" Lily met her gaze. "I care," she said. "But not enough to let you control it." Silence. Grace's expression hardened. "You think you can speak to me like this now?" she said coldly. Lily's voice remained soft. "I'm just speaking honestly." Grace let out a sharp laugh. "Honesty," she repeated. "Then let me be honest too." She leaned forward slightly. "You were never good enough for Ethan." The words hung in the air. Heavy. But this time, they didn't break her. Lily held her gaze. "And he was never good enough to keep me," she replied. The silence that followed was suffocating. Grace's eyes widened slightly. For the first time, she had no immediate response. Outside the restaurant, Mia paced back and forth. "I swear, if she says anything." "Mia." Daniel's calm voice stopped her. "She can handle it," he said. Mia turned to him, frustrated. "I know she can," she said. "But she shouldn't have to." Daniel didn't argue. He simply looked toward the restaurant. Quiet. Observant. Inside, Grace slowly regained her composure. "You've changed," she said. Lily nodded slightly. "Yes." Grace's lips pressed into a thin line. "Do you think this changes anything?" she asked. "You've already left the Xu family." Lily stood up slowly. "That's exactly why everything has changed." Grace's gaze sharpened. "You think walking away makes you strong?" Lily looked down at her. Calm. Steady. "No," she said softly. "Choosing myself does." At that moment, a small commotion began near the entrance. Two women whispered loudly, glancing toward Lily. "Isn't that her? The one who got divorced from the Xu family?" Grace didn't stop them. In fact, a faint smile appeared on her lips. This was her plan. Let society judge Lily. Let pressure break her. Just like before. But Lily turned toward the voices. And instead of shrinking, she walked forward. Every step calm, confident. The whispers grew quieter. Then she stopped. You're right, Lily said gently. I was part of the Shu family. The room stilled. And I chose to leave. No shame. No hesitation. Because a marriage without respect isn't worth keeping. Her voice wasn't loud. But it carried. Clear. Unshaken. The whispers stopped completely. Even Grace froze. This was not the outcome she expected. At the entrance, Mia's eyes widened. Did you hear that? She whispered. Daniel smiled faintly. I did. Back inside. Lily turned and walked away. This time, no one whispered. No one judged. Because there was nothing left to question. She had already answered it all. Later that night, Ethan stood in his office. His phone in his hand. A message from his assistant. The situation at the restaurant. Should we intervene? Ethan stared at the screen. Then slowly typed. No. He paused. Then added. She handled it. He set the phone down. His mind replayed the scene he had just watched through the report. Lily. Standing alone. Facing everything. And not breaking. For the first time. Ethan felt something unfamiliar. Not control. Not distance. But realization. He had underestimated her. And now, he might have lost the chance to ever understand her again. The sky was clear for the first time in days. Sunlight poured gently over the city, warming the streets that had only known rain. Lily Chen stood on the balcony of her apartment, holding a cup of tea. She closed her eyes briefly. Peace. It was something she had once chased desperately. Now it simply existed. Her phone buzzed. A message. Ethan Shu. She stared at the name for a moment. In her past life, even seeing his name would make her heart race. Now, it only made her pause. The message was simple. Can we talk? Lily exhaled softly. Before she could decide, another voice came from behind. You're thinking too hard again. Mia walked in, grabbing an apple from the table. Lily turned slightly. It's Ethan. Mia immediately frowned. And he wants to talk. Mia took a bite of the apple, unimpressed. And you want to? Lily didn't answer right away. That silence was answer enough. Mia sighed. Just remember, she said. You don't owe him anything anymore. Lily nodded. I know. And she meant it. That afternoon. A quiet park. Soft wind. Falling leaves. Ethan was already there. Standing still, hands in his pockets. He rarely waited for anyone. But today, he had arrived early. When Lily approached, he noticed immediately. She wore something simple. Light. Effortless. Not the carefully chosen outfits she used to wear to please him. Thank you for coming, Ethan said. Lily stopped a few steps away. You said you wanted to talk. Straight to the point. Ethan nodded slightly. For a moment. He didn't know where to start. That, too, was new. Finally, he spoke. I've been thinking, he said. Lily waited. About us. Her expression didn't change. There is no us, she reminded him gently. Ethan exhaled quietly. I know, he said. That acknowledgement was different. I didn't understand before, he continued. Lily's eyes flickered slightly. Didn't understand what? She asked. Ethan looked at her directly. What you were doing for me, he said. What you gave up. Lily held his gaze. In her past life, these words would have meant everything. Now, they felt distant. I see it now, Ethan added. Lily tilted her head slightly. And? The question was simple. But it carried weight. Ethan hesitated. Then, for the first time, he said slowly. I regret it. The wind moved softly between them. Lily looked down briefly. Regret. It came. Just late. Ethan, she said quietly. You're not wrong for realizing it now. He looked at her, surprised. But, she continued. You are late. The words were gentle, but they landed heavily. Ethan's hand tightened slightly. I want to fix it, he said. Lily shook her head softly. You can't fix something that no longer exists. Silence. Ethan stepped forward slightly. We can start again. Lily didn't move. Why? She asked. The question stopped him. Because. He paused. Because what? Because he missed her. Because he was used to her. Because he finally understood her worth. None of the answers felt complete. Lily watched him quietly. You don't even know why, she said softly. Ethan frowned. You're not in love with me now, Lily said. You're just realizing what you lost. The truth was sharp. Precise. Ethan didn't deny it. Because he couldn't. At that moment, a familiar figure approached. Daniel Wu. He stopped when he saw them. I didn't mean to interrupt, he said calmly. Lily shook her head. It's fine. Ethan's gaze shifted between them. Something inside him tightened again. I was just leaving, Lily said. She turned back to Ethan. I'm glad you said what you needed to say, she added. Then paused. And I'm glad I heard it, without needing it. That was the final difference. Ethan understood. Too late. Lily turned and walked toward Daniel. Done? Daniel asked gently. Lily nodded. Yes. They walked away together. Not close. Not distant. Just natural. Ethan remained where he stood, watching, until they disappeared from view. For the first time in his life, he felt something he couldn't control. Loss. Not sudden. Not dramatic. But quiet. Certain. That night, the Shu residence felt colder than ever. Grace sat in the living room. I heard you met her, she said. Ethan didn't respond immediately. She's already moved on, Grace continued. You should too. Ethan finally looked at her. For years, he said. I thought I understood what mattered. Grace frowned. But I was just repeating what I was taught. Her expression changed. What are you implying? Ethan stood up slowly. That control isn't the same as care. Silence. Grace's face stiffened. You're blaming me now? Ethan didn't answer. Because deep down, he knew. He wasn't just blaming her. He was finally seeing everything clearly. Meanwhile, Lily sat by her window again. The city lights flickered softly. Her phone lay beside her. No new messages. No expectations. She smiled faintly. For the first time. She wasn't waiting for anything. And that felt like freedom. The morning arrived quietly. No rain. No storm. Just soft sunlight stretching across the city as if everything had finally settled. Lily Chen stood in front of the mirror. She adjusted her blazer, smoothing it lightly. There was a calm confidence in her movements now. No hesitation. No second guessing. Today mattered. Not because of anyone else. But because of herself. Her phone buzzed softly on the table. A message from Mia. Big day. Don't overthink. You've already won. Lily smiled. Won. She used to think winning meant being loved. Chosen. Needed. Now. Winning meant something simpler. Being whole. At the Shu residence. The atmosphere was unusually quiet. Grace Shu sat alone in the living room. The large house, once filled with control and authority, now felt empty. She looked around slowly. Everything was still in place. Perfect. Untouched. Yet something was missing. For years, she believed maintaining control meant maintaining order. Maintaining family. Maintaining respect. But now, there was only silence. Her gaze lingered on the staircase. For a brief moment, a memory surfaced. Lily, standing there quietly, asking if she needed anything. Always polite. Always careful. Grace frowned slightly. She was too soft, she muttered. But even as she said it, the words didn't carry the same certainty anymore. At Lily's company, the conference room was filled with people. Investors. Partners. Colleagues. Lily stood at the front. Composed. Clear. As she presented, her voice remained steady. Every word precise. Every idea confident. No one interrupted. No one doubted. Because she no longer doubted herself. At the back of the room, Daniel watched quietly, not stepping in, not overshadowing. Just there. Supporting without taking space. When Lily finished, there was a brief pause. Then, applause. Not overwhelming, but genuine. Real. Lily exhaled softly. Not relief. Satisfaction. Outside the building. As the meeting ended, Lily stepped out into the sunlight. She paused. Closing her eyes briefly. You did well. Ethan's voice. She opened her eyes. He stood a few steps away. Not imposing. Not distant. Just there. Lily looked at him. You came, she asked. Ethan nodded. I heard about the presentation. A small pause. I wanted to see it. Lily studied him for a moment. There was something different about him too. Less rigid. Less controlled. Not completely changed. But trying. You've changed, Ethan said quietly. Lily smiled faintly. I told you that already. Ethan nodded slightly. I didn't understand it then. A brief silence passed between them. But it wasn't heavy anymore. Just honest. I'm not here to ask you to come back, Ethan said. That made Lily pause. He continued. I just wanted to say something properly. Lily waited. Ethan met her eyes. Thank you, he said. Simple. But real. For everything you did, he added. Even the things I didn't see. Lily held his gaze. In her past life, these words would have healed everything. Now, they simply settled. You're welcome, she said softly. No bitterness. No attachment. Just closure. Ethan exhaled slowly. I don't expect anything, he said. And for the first time, that was true. A soft voice interrupted. Am I interrupting again? Daniel approached, a faint smile on his face. Lily shook her head. No. Ethan looked at him briefly. This time, there was no tension. Only quiet acknowledgement. I'll leave you too, Ethan said. He stepped back. But before turning away, he looked at Lily one last time. Not with regret. Not with longing. But with understanding. And maybe a little hope. Later that evening, the city glowed under the night sky. Lily walked along the quiet street. Daniel beside her. You handled that well, he said. Lily smiled slightly. It wasn't hard anymore. Daniel glanced at her. That's how you know you've moved on. Lily nodded. They walked in comfortable silence. No pressure. No expectations. Just ease. Lily, Daniel said after a moment. She looked at him. We don't have to rush anything, he added. Lily blinked slightly, then smiled. Good, she said. Because I'm not in a hurry. Daniel laughed softly. I figured. They stopped at a crosswalk. The light turned red. They waited. Cars passed. People moved. Life continued. Lily looked ahead. For the first time. The future didn't feel uncertain. It felt open. And that was enough. Final scene. Back at the Shoe residence. Ethan stood alone by the window. The city stretched out before him. For once, he wasn't thinking about control. Or expectations. Or what he had lost. He was thinking about change. Real change. And whether it was too late to become someone different. He didn't have the answer yet. But for the first time, he was willing to find out. Meanwhile, Lily stood on her balcony. The same place as before. But everything felt different. She closed her eyes briefly. Then opened them. Stepping forward. Not looking back.